Hey, good morning, and welcome to Jersey Sports Guys. My name's Jeff Muller. My usual partner, Martin Cali, he can't be with me today. We're going to try to get back together soon, the two of us. We're a pretty good team. We've been talking sports for over 40 years, okay? It's been a long time. And again, Knick fans, this could be your night. You have to be ecstatic today, or probably a mix of ecstatic and anxious and nervous. It's game 5 tonight in San Antonio. You have a 3-1 lead, the Knicks. And can they put it all together tonight? Can they win that first title since 1973? It'll be interesting to see what happens with the Knicks. Again, I think it's a tough call to make. I'm not sure how this game's going to go tonight. I mentioned before in these broadcasts that San Antonio has always come back when they have been facing an elimination game or they need a must game, and they've always come back and had a big game. And they've always done that when they're playing at home, and they're playing at home again tonight. So it'll be interesting to see how the Spurs come out. You know, they've always had the big first half leads. Second half, again, they just kind of go to sleep in that second half. I don't know what happens, but the offense slows. The shot selection is bad. And we'll see what happens tonight. The Knicks, how did the Knicks come out after that miraculous win at the Garden when they're down by 29? And, of course, the unlikelihood of all unlikelihoods, the tip-in that wins it for them. You know, it just probably you can't make this stuff up when it comes to the last shot that the Knicks took. So it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight. I think it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be another tussle. It's going to be another game that's very physical, like they've all been. The hand-to-hand combat stuff underneath the basket. So we're going to see. But tonight's the night that could erase a lot of bad memories for Knicks fans. I go back to '69. I remember the 2 championship teams. But, over those years, you've had a lot of – when that '73 team broke up and, Frazier was traded to the Cavaliers and all those pieces started to disappear and that transition started to happen – that's when things really went sour for the Knicks. They built it back up with the Patrick Ewing era. Tough losses in the playoffs there. There's the Charles Smith game. There's the Ewing finger roll that doesn't go. There's the incident with Miami and Pat Riley and the Ewing suspension for coming off the bench. The Stephon Marbury, the Isaiah Thomas years. A lot of good basketball, but a lot of bad basketball since the 2 championships. And tonight they can wipe all that away, get rid of all the ghost. Okay, what a win. But I think they still come back and win at the Garden. I would like to see it go 6. Just for my personal belongings, I like to see it go 6 because I think it's been a great series. It's been fun watching this basketball. And I think you have to agree upon that because it's been very good basketball. The playoffs have been outstanding. As far as I'm looking at these, I think it's been outstanding basketball. And I'm not the one who watches NBA basketball. I lost interest in the game when it became a 3-point and slam dunk league. And I was thinking about this the other day. Everybody complains about these guys getting days off. The guys back in the 70s, they never got days off. I mean, I was watching a Knicks game that I used to like to watch the old Knicks highlights games, but they were playing at the Garden on a Saturday night, and they had to turn around and be in Milwaukee for a game with the Bucks. It was an ABC game in the afternoon, so they had to hop on a plane at night, fly through the night, get up the next day, get to Milwaukee and play a game. That's how it was back then. You didn't have all these days off. The players didn't take days off. But in defense of that, and I don't usually come to the defense of that too often. You look at today's game, you just look at this series, and this series is so symbolic of what's going on in the league today because this game is so physical today. It's just immensely physical that these guys take a beating. And yeah, they're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster. They're taking care of themselves better. They're into lifting weights, but it's a lot of contact out there. And for you to bounce back like they're doing, in the finals here, you get that extra day today. You had the extra day before tonight's game. it's physical and it wears on your body. So again, in their defense, yeah, they're in better shape than those guys were back then, probably, and they're doing a lot more with all the technology we have today. But yeah, they get banged up a lot. I don't want to go off on that too much. But just to get back on what's going on today, the 73 Knicks, I was 13 years old when they won. I was a big Willis Reed fan. My number playing basketball was 19 when I could get it, because after Willis, I had a poster of him in my room. You know how you used to put the posters up in your room of the players. That 73 team, this Knick team may overtake them if they win the championship. But that 73 team, listen to this roster: Willis Reed, Walt Frazier, Earl Monroe, Dick Barnett, Dave DeBusschere. How many players do you know from Detroit Mercy? DeBusschere was the whole key that really kind of flipped it over for the Knicks for good when they got him. Bill Bradley, Jerry Lucas. Off the bench, Dean the Dream Meminger, the #1 pick from Marquette. It really worked out like they thought he would, but he had some good years with the Knicks. Henry Bibby, John Gianelli, the G-Man, okay? And Phil Jackson. And they had some other players who filled out the roster. You got to be a Knick aficionado if you remember Tom Riker or Luther Rackley. But what a roster in 73. Just a great team. And I think, people got hurt. Some people got traded. People got older at that there too as well. But just a great roster. Remember, the Knicks lost to the Lakers the previous season in the finals. Okay, their road to 73, that was not easy. They had to beat the Bullets, who were a lot of people thought back then were the best team around. Wes Unseld, Phil Chenier, Archie Clark, Alvin Hayes. Very good team. And then they made the ex-Knicks were on that team. Mike Reardon, Dave Saulworth. They came over in the Earl Monroe trade. Okay. They got through the Celtics, who won 68 games in a season. Dave Cowens, JoJo White, John Havlicek, Don Nelson, Paul Silas, Paul Westphal. Great team. Great Celtics team at that time. They went very deep. And so the Knicks had a hard road in 73 to get there. This Knicks team as well, they not as hard as a road to get there. The Sixers turned out to be a joke, basically, and Joel Embiid always getting hurt. Cleveland, I thought, was a fraud. They weren't as good as people thought they were. The Hawks gave them the best series, right? The Hawks took 2 games from them, gave them the best series. C.J. McCollum, if you're listening from Pennsylvania, ex-Lehigh star, okay? But again, that 73 team had a harder road to get to the finals than this team does. But what this team did, it's 13 in a row. And like I told you in an earlier broadcast, it's very difficult to win 13 straight games in any sport. So give the Knicks credit on that. I don't think they're going to lose this series. It would be an epic crash if they lost this series. I don't think it's going to happen. It's very difficult to win 3 games in a row. It could be done, and the Spurs probably should have won this series already, In the situations that the Spurs were in, they probably should have won this series already. But we'll see what happens tonight, okay? How about the Mets? They win last night. Bo Bichette hits a grand slam. Do you think the Mets can make a run here? They're 7 games below 500. They won 9 out of the last 14. I think if they had Clay Holmes, it would be a different story. McClain is learning what it's like to pitch in the majors for a full season. People have the book on him now. He got into a jam last night. He had a 42 pitch inning, only lasted 4 innings. 2-4 ERA, just above 4. But I think the Mets can make a run. I like Christian Scott. Like I said, I like the young kids. I would not try to rush Luis Robert back or Jorge Polanco. I think the lineup they have right now is clicking for them. I think this lineup can work the rest of the season for them. If Bichette starts to hit, if Soto has 15 homers, but he only has 32 RBIs. He's got to knock in a lot of more runs. They're going to be, hopefully they're fun to watch the second half. I think they have a nice team together right now. Obviously the starting pitching has to come around a little bit more. Luke Weaver's done a nice job for them out of the bullpen. He really has. Let's see, what else do I want to touch upon today? Talking about Trump, right? I don't like to talk politics, and I've mentioned this before. Sports and politics don't mix, but we got to get this situation with Iran settled. It's still one of the big focal points that we wake up to every single day, and we got to get this settled. I'm not encouraging for him to go and bomb Iran, but either something has to be done. We got to get this settled. Okay. The gas prices down here in South Carolina are coming down a bit. I know you're paying more up north than we are down here, but we got to get this settled, and hopefully he can get this settled. Let's get this done either way. Something has to be done here. And again, sports and politics with the Giants, with Abdul Carter saying, he didn't like what Jackson Dart said about Trump. That's none of Abdul Carter's business. Okay. And again, this is when athletes take that, and athletes and musicians and artists, they come out and take these political stances. Play the music, play the game. Don't worry about politics. Okay. Finally, today, talk a little pop culture. How many of you are fans of 1966 Batman? Maybe that's my all-time favorite. I still remember every year, January 12th, 1966, the year Batman debuted. And still today, I watched her. I'm fortunate enough to watch the old episodes, streaming them, and they're on Heroes and Icons Network on the weekends. If you're a Batman fan, you're looking for them, tune them in. It's on 8 o'clock Saturdays, 9 o'clock Sundays. And it's that whole superhero genre growing up. We didn't have that growing up, but that was one of the breakthrough shows of the 60s. It's campy. It's when you watch it today, and when you watch it as a kid, you compare, and you were mesmerized as a kid watching it. But you see how campy it was today with all the stuff going on. But great guest stars, the great guest stars and the villains. And my favorite villain, I think, is Frank Gorshin as the Riddler, who just did I thought an incredible job. I thought he was great as the Riddler. Just one of the great acting jobs of all time. And Cesar Romero, Burgess Meredith, Victor Bono. Okay, Zsa Zsa Gabor comes on at the very last episode as a villainess. Julie Newmar, did a great job. But, I can still watch it over and over and over again, because it gave you that sense of good versus evil, right versus wrong, which I think is missing in today's world a lot. We don't have that respect for police. And I don't want to go off on a tangent, but it just gave you that old good versus evil battle that I think is missing in today's world. Okay. That's about it. Like I said, just see what happens with the Knicks tonight. I'm kind of mixed feelings with it. I'm not sure how the game's going to go. I think it's just going to be a great game. I think it's going to be another great game to watch. I don't think either team blows out the other team out. I would be surprised if that happens, but we'll see what happens. So thanks again for joining. Give us a like, give us a subscription. Try to keep you entertained here, and we'll get into talking some Phillies sports as well. Probably talk some Phillies next time, see what's going on. That's a whole different situation going on with the Phillies. And if you're a Phillies fan, you got to worry about can the Phillies be in contention for a playoff spot. Tune in for Knicks tonight. It should be a good one. Keep an eye on the Mets and the Yankees. Football's around the corner. And like I said, give us a like, give us a subscription. We're going to try to come back with a live show or a breakfast show either tomorrow or Sunday, or tomorrow or Monday, and we'll see what happens. So again, thanks again for viewing. Have a great rest of your day. Stay cool. We're in a heat advisory down here. It could get up to 105. So yikes. So take care of those pets too. Take care of yourself, and talk to you again soon.